Hey, brother. What
Tom, how you doing, man?
you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm just chilling. It's Monday. You know, you on East Coast time too?
There goes that. That's a good way to start. Phone tumbling off the table.
Yeah, great. I have mine sitting up on the table too. Um, I was actually gonna work out today, but I had to skip my workout today because I left my car on the other side of town. Left it in my girlfriend's side of town.
Happens.
So had to skip old leg day, but that's okay. I'll hit it on Wednesday.
That's a smart way to do it, though. Start with legs on Monday. You know that the week can only get better. It's awesome.
Yeah. I alternate actually. So every Monday I'll do either like push muscles or pull muscles. I'll do like legs every other Monday,
Perfect.
basically.
That's perfect. Keep it simple, man. I'm a proponent of that. Big proponent of that.
You go today?
Yeah, I have actually. I'll go after we hang up because I had clients. I was answering client workouts until like a half hour ago, and then I'll go. I do like a Steve Reeves goal, like Silver Age full body. You know, it's sets of 12-minute rest, 2 minutes between exercises. Just start shoulders, go to chest, go to back, go to arms. Then when you think you're tanked, you do your legs, and then finish up with abs. Go tan so I don't look pale, and and then and then call it a night. So I'll do that every other day.
Nice. That's awesome. Sounds like you do a lot in your workouts, man. How many days a week you go to the gym?
I do 3 days. I do three
I,
days.
I also do 3 days. All right, bet.
Great feeling. It's the best thing I ever did for myself, man. In college, it was like every day and just garbage volume without realizing what that was because you can recover so quickly. But like you get to a certain point where you're like, man, I want to get in. I want to, get out, get a pump, go home and
Hmm.
just eat and recover, And as a result, like I'm always looking forward to my workouts, which I think is something that's so big. When you're actually excited to get into the gym. When it becomes something, and I'm sure you've had these like people that come in and like out of the gate, they're like, I want to work out 6 times a week. And you're like, what are you working out now? And they're like, none. And I'm like, then you don't want to work out 6 days a week because your motivation is just going to tank. You might make it a week. You might make it a week.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that it's important. Now, obviously contest time, photo shoot time, whatever. Like you got to dial it in. You got to go. Do your extra cardio, squeeze out the water. But like, just most of the time during the year, I think that even if you read into like the golden age guys, like yeah, Schwarzenegger did twice a day for 5 hours,
Yeah, but he was juicing though.
and yeah, totally recovery. But then also that was very limited contest prep. That was like the last 10 weeks before contest, and
Yeah,
those
he wasn't doing that all year round. He did
not
most
at
of that all
all.
year.
All Frank Zane said he would like come in like run the rack on dumbbells doing overhead press and that would be his shoulders, and then he would go do 5 6 sets of squats and that would be that for the day, and then he would do something every other day and then dial it in when they dialed in the drugs, when they dialed in the nutrition 10 weeks out from Mr. Olympia because they only competed once a year at that point.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to compete in a show every 6 weeks. You had one, and he won it for 5 6 straight years. So it's one of those things where I think that so much of like young guys, like, and I'm sure you have this too, like most of our followers are going to be kids in their 20s that just want to figure out like, oh, I want to look like that. And when you explain to them how it really is about working smart and just triggering muscle protein synthesis, getting home, get your food, get your rest, and recover, right? And I think that that's something that kids look at, whatever is in, whatever magazine they're watching or reading, and whatever website they're on, or whatever Bradley Martin's jumping over that week. Like then they're like, oh, I want to do that, and you're like, dude, you can't do that. Like that's level. And like again, look, I'm not going to tell people what to put in their body or what not to put in their body, but like and it's a lifelong thing if you start it, and there's a lot of repercussions that can go with it, and how many times do you see bodybuilders 23, 24, your cardiac tissue is swollen, your the muscles that you use in digestion are hypertrophied too.
Right.
And I mean, I have friends that are competitors. I have friends that compete in non-tested shows, and I'm proud of them. And I'm certainly happy for them. Like I can't do 35 reps at 225 on
Yeah,
paper.
right.
Like
Exactly.
I watched my buddy do it the other day, and I'm like, he got them. They're clean reps, but he didn't do that on chicken broccoli rice. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, facts.
And that's the thing. So I think that that's always what I've seen as my responsibility in this profession is never to misrepresent the results. Never to, in any way try to pass off the way I look in my Instagram shots is like the way I look every day. Because again, those were post shots, dieted shots, lit shots,
Mm-hmm.
and you know those are coming up, right? You know that, all right, I have a photo shoot this day. In the same way that you get your teeth whitened and you get your hair cut, you just make sure that you're in photo shoot shape for that day. And I feel bad when you watch these kids like realize, oh man, I don't that's not the result I was gonna get. Or like, oh, I want a body like that dude, but you can't genetics step in after a while, right? Like if you and tell people that, like, man, like those guys on the Olympia stage have perfect genetics, perfect nutrition, perfect workout design, and $10,000 a month in pharmaceuticals. And that's something that it's a combination of all those things that it can make it unreachable. Now, I always tell people, but you can be a better version of you 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now. And that's what I do. That's how I've always trained. That's how I train other people. And I think that there's going to be people that decide like, it's not worth it. But I think most folks want to see what they're capable of. And I think that when you get through that first 12 weeks and you see like, oh wow, that I changed. I got stronger. Like my ankle mobility is better, my stability is better, my strength is increased, my agility is better.
Such a
Um,
good feeling.
it's such a good feeling. And I tell people, look, progress pictures. I work for a company called Copilot. We do virtual training. It was designed by these two cats, Matt Patel, who went to Carnegie Mellon University here in Pittsburgh, which is a big software school, which is one of the best technical colleges in the world. And then his best friend, Gabe Madonna, who went to MIT, which is the best technical college in the world. And I only know that because Gabe will tell you it 15 times a day, whether you ask him to or not. They built this algorithm that essentially tracks movement works with the accelerometer in the watch, measures acceleration, orientation, and rotation of your wrist during movement. And we're able to train people throughout the world that way. And when I meet with people, when I do my onboarding call, one of the things I talk about is expectation. Like, what is your expectation of yourself? What's your expectation of me? What's your expectation of, how committed are you? How motivated are you? You tell me, like, I want to walk around at my wedding in November with six-pack abs and big arms. Like, all right, what are you willing to give up for that? And I think that helping someone create a vision, helping someone set their sights on this is the version of me I want to be. That's how you get past the snacking stuff. That's how you get past the garbage calories. That how you get past, not wanting to drink water. That's how you get past not wanting to sleep enough. And I think that you've got to tie everything into vision. You've got to tie everything into that being the goal, and you've got to be willing to make some sacrifice. You can't eat trash and expect to end up with with a physique that you're going to want. And then I think that's such an important thing, and it's such an important thing to set your clients up, set your colleagues up, set your gym buddy up for good habits. Because ultimately, why do we work with trainers? Why do we work with gym buddies? Knowledge, accountability, motivation, right? So if I'm a bad gym buddy, if I'm providing motivation, if I'm a bad trainer, if I'm not providing knowledge and accountability, I'm not doing my job, and I'm certainly not. If I give up on any of those things on my own, I'm certainly not living what I hope I represent at any point in time. So
Right.
it's just all about setting healthy habits and deciding what you can live without. I think that's important.
Oh, big time, dude. But yeah, what you were saying about kids that like younger kids that don't want to get into fitness and be like, I want to do that, like what they see in the fitness magazines. I think it's crazy, dude, because like I will look at these like mainstream fitness magazines and it's all like Kai Green and those kind of guys. They're like massive jacked and it's like, do the Kai Green workout. And it's like, bro, you can do that if you want to, but just know you won't see those kind of gains unless you're juicing as well.
It's
Like those like Kai Green, those like Phil Heath workouts, those work. Those will get you absolutely massive if you also juice and if you like freaking triple your caloric maintenance in a day. You know what I mean? But how realistic is that to keep up on a year after year after year, everyday basis? Like, absolutely not. So like I also only go to the gym 3 days a week, you know?
And you're looking
And
yeah, like that's a huge part of it. Like I love lifting because of that. I look forward to my time. I look forward to my sets. I'm excited about my sets. If you're burning yourself out and destroying your tendons and your ligaments, and you're screwing your hormonal regulation, like you're not gonna have any joy in this anymore, and you're gonna tank your sex drive. You're gonna screw up your appetite. You're gonna mess with your hormones, and at the end of the day, you're gonna be no fun to be around. And at the end of the day, like most of us, I think most of us that are aesthetic athletes, we got into this to meet girls, or whomever, and we wanted to feel a certain way, have that little bit of confidence that goes with that.
yeah.
Why destroy that by working, doing all this volume that is ultimately going to be it's going to be garbage. 8 sets of 15, if 7 sets of 20 with triple drop sets. Shut up.
Yeah, and then to keep that, bro, you have to go to the gym like 6 days a week. Otherwise, all that volume, all that blood weight in like your arms and legs or whatever, it goes away. So
Mm-hmm.
like for me, when I was in high school and college, I was kind of like you. I would go to the gym every day, like sometimes 7 days a week. And then it wasn't sustainable, right? Like when I would get serious about class or whatever, and then I would just quit and I would lose all my gains in like 2 weeks, you know? But I would be huge. Like I would get absolutely like 20, 30 pounds heavier than I was previously in a very short period of time because I was going to the gym every single day almost, and I was doing like 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps for everything, and that's great for a short period of time, but can you sustain doing that for the rest of your life? You know what I mean? Like the rest of your life. So that's why I love going 3 days a week. And like I know you said your physique now isn't the physique that you always have, but I'm assuming that's because you do shows and stuff.
I'm a member of Actors Equity, so I'm a stage actor. Like that
Okay, cool.
job. I went to drama school, and so you learn how, like, during show week, like you're quite literally, like, as opposed to, like, essentially imagine doing a bodybuilding show except having to maintain that physique for like 3 weeks. Like it sucks. And like there are those times where like you look awesome on opening night, and then like by Sunday afternoon you're just exhausted. Like you're doing push-ups where you got on stage just to pump up a little bit, but
Right.
you're trying to time it. You're trying to peak on opening night, and then maybe you can manipulate it a little bit so that, like, Friday you look pretty sharp. And like I know the last the play I did where I actually joined the union, we were playing Marines. So like you gotta look it. You know what I mean? So like we're that week where you're making sure that you're nice and lean, you're keeping your protein high. I was doing IF for like 16 hours. I was doing 16/8 just to stay sharp.
Right.
And then you opening night party, you're still making smart decisions. Like I live in Pittsburgh, dude. Like we'll put cheese and French fries on salad. So like to eat healthy.
Everything, bro, on the sandwiches. I'm from Somerset County, so I'm
There
hip.
you go. There you go. It's and you know how easy it is to, like, Pittsburgh calories. Just they'll there's somebody,
Oh,
hey,
fried food and cheese, bro. You can hit maintenance in one meal.
yeah, Eaton Park, dude. um, so it's
I
all,
love some Permane Brothers, though.
dude. It's closing night of any show. That's my trip. Um,
Deadass, nice.
me and my buddy Ryan Kearney, who's another trainer here in Pittsburgh, another actor. We were in the show together, and the closing night of the show, we closed at 7 o'clock, and then we went to Permanis, and I think we each had 2 sandwiches and just housed them, and it have that Iron City beer, like just because it is one of those things where you're like, I've not eaten anything fun in like a
Mhm.
month and a half. And again, it's for a result. And yeah, are those sandwiches going to kill you? No, but you're going to be a little slower the next morning,
Right.
and uh, it's just that eating for a reward, though. It's something you like because you earned it. It's not every day. You can't eat permanis. For those people not from Pittsburgh, a permani sandwich is like meat, cheese, apple cider vinegar coleslaw, tomato, and French fries, and then you just smush it together between two big slices of Italian bread. Like
No,
it's
dude, I'm gonna have to go eat something like right now. I'm so hungry.
all the
I
calories.
haven't eaten dinner yet, so like,
Uh,
bro, and I can't get to it for me. It's anywhere close to me because I live in Baltimore right now.
oh man, it's a special eating experience. But yeah, so that's yeah the physique I have like right now. Like I want to get pictures shot for my birthday. My birthday's at the end of August or the end of October. So I wanted to get pictures before I turn 40, and so I'm kind of doing like a little like a cut right now, and then I'll go
Mhm.
in. You know, hopefully if like I normally carry about like 198, and if I can get down to like 190, 189, somewhere in there, you know, I know
Nice.
it'll look good. It's not like physique ready. Like it wouldn't be like physique stage ready, but
Right.
it's for photos, you know.
Yeah. I do like what you said though about, permanis, just as an example, permani sandwiches not being something that you do all the time, because I personally love to eat like garbage food. Um, but again, it's not all the time. So I'll see like my friends out or something, like I'll go out with friends that I haven't seen for a while, and I'll have like a handful of beers, and like some trash foods. And sometimes they'll be like, bro, like I see like your fitness stuff or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but like you don't know that I'm eating well for like the other days of the week. If like one day a week or 2 days a week I want to eat like a pizza and some have some beers, like I'm gonna be okay, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
know you said your physique isn't right now how it is all the time. Mine is right now the way that it is all the time, but again, I'm not doing shows, so I understand. However, in the summertime I do lean down because I like to do longer fasts. You said you experiment with intermittent fasting, and I do like around 16-17 hour fasts during like the fall, winter, and spring. But in the summertime, I do like 23-hour fast. So I'll do like the OMAD diet. I'll do like one meal a day for most of the week. Obviously, I don't want to put my body into a catabolic state and like completely crash my metabolism and everything. So like 1 or 2 days a week, I'll have like refeed days. But otherwise, like I'm as lean as I could essentially be while still enjoying the foods that I love to eat. You know what I mean? So like I'll have like cupcakes, or I'll eat like I'll go out to a buffet and I'll eat like freaking 200 calories in a pop, and people be like, how are you so thin? Like how are you so skinny? Like, because bro, like, I understand how not just like exercise and fitness works, but also how like fasting and lifestyle diet works. Because to me, like, I'm a big advocate on fasting, and to me it's not just a calorie restricting diet, it's a lifestyle that I live every day. So like if I want to go out and have breakfast with my friends tomorrow or this weekend, I could do that and I wouldn't miss any gains because this is my lifestyle.
So I'm Greek Orthodox. So our year, there are times uh, where we don't eat anything that ultimately came from an animal closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the time before Easter, before Christmas, and then we're actually just coming off one due at the beginning of August. And so, you know, when you're not taking in calories from meat, calories from dairy, it's effective. And it's discipline in the best way, you know, and it's something that to be able to do that, you know, I'm never one to complain about it. I'm never one to make it, you know, to make it a big issue. I think that a lot of people, you know, it's a discipline that is meant to help you burn calories, to control your energy expenditure, to kind of see what you're made of, right? Because you get into that, you know, you get 15 hours into that fast, 16 hours into that fast, and everything looks delicious. Like everything looks good.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
when you get to that, you know, dude, the worst thing, I worked in a gym in like this bougie neighborhood in Pittsburgh, a gym called X Shady Side. I loved it. I was there for 5 years. We were
Would you say it
across,
was Shady Side?
yeah, Shady Side. Yeah,
Okay.
in Pittsburgh. So like right near Pitt's campus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we, I would be there at like 5, you know, to train my early morning. And there was a place called Prantle's Bakery across the street that makes this like it's a toasted almond tort like cake, and they'd be
You could
baking it
smell it from across the street, couldn't you?
like going in, and you're like, all right, I can eat. Oh. But it is that thing. It's just you get to a point where like it's not that I don't want that food. I want that food. I love that food. But like I just know that again, like we were talking about before, like my goals
You're
are in
dedicated.
with wanting that right now. You know, and that's really
Right.
that's kind of the thing. Or even like serving, you know, portion control, right? Like just knowing like, all right, yes, I could go back and get another plate, but you know what? I'm good. I'm full. I'll drink some water. I'll have some black coffee. I'll keep that appetite in check. because I don't want to feel that bloat the next day. I don't want to feel, I don't want to feel like I'm 30 pounds heavier. Like it's not my thing. And so I think that
And you always feel like crap when you break your fast with junk food.
it's because, well, it's just salt, sugar, and fat. Like at the end of the day, if all this anything that tastes good typically has some sort of salt, sugar, fat in it. And sugar, man, sugar's, I can't tell you how many clients I have will tell you, like, man, that's my thing I can't beat. Well, no, of course you can't beat it. Sugar's an addiction. Sugar is a blood brain barrier thing, man. Like if you are feeling shitty, have some sugar. You'll feel better. You're not going to feel better in a good way. It's nothing you did. It's a chemical signal. Um,
Right. You might
that's
feel better for a short period of time, but that'll go away.
and then you'll tank. Yep, and then you'll be.
Insulin spike.
Oh, it's the worst. And that is the big thing, right? Is like when you're working with a client, or somebody comes up to you and it's that, I want to look like you. What do I do? And you're like, well, let's take a small step. Do you drink 2 liters of water every day? No. Start there. All right. Then what does your breakfast look like? I eat, something like the last feed I saw you guys did. Like it's that person that's like, I have cereal and, juice and yogurt. And you're like, okay. All
It
right.
just makes me want to pull my hair out, man.
My teeth are hurting. You're like, all right, what cereal do you have? And then you realize, okay, that's a problem. Because you just might as well just be mainlining sugar at that point. That's why I'm a big like shredded wheat fan. Like I love the fiber, I love the texture content. People go back and forth on like I was raised on vitamin D milk. I was one of those people that and I would drink 6 ounces of it and I'm full. Like I don't need to drink, I can get my calories from that, get my dairy from that. I'm good. I do like almond milk. I've actually, when I'm thirsty, almond milk does it for me in a way that dairy milk just feels heavy. Um, or, even like when you're making those little suggestions, like dude slamming Gatorade and you're like, man, just, are you working hard enough to really burn off the sugar that you're taking in with that? And it's
Gatorade is trash, dude.
look,
I actually hate Gatorade.
I mean, you try. Here's the thing. Like, do you ever grab, like, you think you're drinking one thing and it's something else? Like one time, I thought I was grabbing the 0-calorie one, and I didn't. And I drank it. Like I got a mouthful of it, and it was just. I think I was awake for like 3 days. Like when you haven't had that sugar in a long time, it hits you hard. And we're
Yeah,
not
dude, it almost makes it feel like a hangover, right?
brutal. Like you can hear colors. Like it not. But it's that stuff where you just it's about behavior change, right? We all talk about,
Yeah.
as trainers, as in mini influencers, whatever we are. Like it's okay, you want to look like that, you can, like you totally can, but there's things you have to do. And I'm so glad, I'm a big Jeff Nippon posted the other day. Like he just did an evaluation of cardio, and he was like, your cardio is great, but it's not going to do the thing for you want. You can't outrun a bad diet. Showed like Steve Cook ate like 10,000 calories and then tried to burn 10,000 calories in a day, and he got to 7. And that he's one of the fittest dudes in the world, running miles, swimming meters. Can't do it. You can't out train. You can't outrun. You can't out swim. Bad eating. And I think that one of the things that really affects people that way is poor structure. Just not having a structure to their meals, not having a structure to their guidelines and how they're going to get their nutrients in during the day. And if it's IF, perfect. Like, all right, I think that the predominant IF leader in the community is, for better or for worse, is Kino Body, right? Where he won't eat anything for 16 hours, and then he'll go the exact opposite and just eat all the things between
Yeah, I follow him on IG. He'll have like 2 double steak burritos from Chipotle and stuff.
which
He
is
actually got me interested in intermittent fasting in the first place. So I used to be a big Kino Body fan.
it's just how much he does. Like that's like, if you get thinking about metabolizing that much food is the other thing too. Like just trying to, like, your intestines are just not going to love you if you do that like that much, just onslaught. Because if you're trying to use it as a caloric limiter anyway, you know going in that direction, I think is whether you can do it or not. I don't know if there's a lot of wisdom or comfort in it, because like I know, like if I go that heavy, man, I'll feel it. I will feel it. And so I think that it comes down to knowing your structure, knowing what your options are. If you know, like, all right, I'm going to do a 16-8, and my first meal will be pre-workout. I'm going to have, fruit and, whatever protein source, grilled chicken, maybe some mozzarella cheese, slice of tomato, put that over some rice, have a little bit of that, a little caprese rice bowl. Awesome. I got that in. I'm going to go work out. All right. I'm going to have my recovery. An hour and a half later, I'll have, I'd rather have several small meals. I've always been that way. Like, than, necessarily do like a big, like a huge bacchanalian feast, I guess, at the end of the day.
See, we're not on the same page with that one. We're gonna disagree because I always hated having like little meals because like I never felt satiated enough, and then I would snack in between and I'd eat garbage in between. Whereas
Mm.
I'll do like a long fast and then I'll eat a big meal afterwards, and it's just so filling. Like I can fill up on whatever kind of foods I want within reason. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna eat a whole box of cupcakes, but the cool thing about the human body though is it adapts. So
Exactly.
you said that you don't like to do that because then you feel like crap afterwards. You feel, that ugly full feeling. I get that, but like for me, I don't feel like that because my body just doesn't get like that because of how often I eat larger meals. But another thing is, bro, like you were probably like this too. I will eat my food super fast. And the faster you eat your food, and the more like crap you feel afterwards. Like you really have to chew it and swallow it, like chew it good and swallow and eat slow. And then you could eat bigger meals and feel like less crap afterwards. You see what I mean?
That's a great point. I'm doing the precision nutrition certification right now, and there's actually an exercise you can have your clients do, but you can do as well. You get 15 almonds and you put them in front of you, and you eat one almond every minute, and you're supposed to chew it and refine it, and so get to that point where like it's mush, and then swallow before you go to the next one. It's an exercise in discipline. It's an exercise in that control. The other
I
thing
don't
I'm
think I could do it, bro. I
uh,
don't think I could chew one almond for 60 seconds. That
mental.
sounds foul.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's
Turns
again,
into like toothpaste in your mouth.
it's gross. It's gross. Our training development guy, he's a Navy SEAL and a PhD candidate in like human performance, and
Mm-hmm.
he was walking us through it, and he's just one of those guys got tremendous willpower, and he did it, and he was like, it was tough. He was like, because you get to that point like 30 seconds in where you're like, there's nothing left to chew here, and the point is that you keep going. The other thing I like what you said though is, every body can adapt differently, right? We can take this big principle and apply it individually, and that's the big thing, and I think that we talk about the said principle, specific adaptation to impose demand. Obviously, we talk about that in terms of progressive overload, but we can also think of it as in diet, in study habits, in whatever. If you impose a demand on your body's going to meet it. And if it doesn't, that's a great way to know that maybe something isn't right. And I think that's an important thing to remember. With your body is capable of tremendous things, and it will meet that stimulus. And I think that's such a great point. That is such a great point. Because, again, like they're when I have to turn it on, I'll turn it on, and you'll have, the 19-hour fast, 17 hours, 16 hours, whatever, because you got it, And that's such an interesting thing. I actually think most people, bless you, sir.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Brad Pilon wrote, Eat, Stop, Eat, which was like the first time I ever heard about intermittent fasting. And Pilon is a guy out of Toronto. He is big on like a 24-hour fast in the middle of the week, where you just for that day drink your coffee, drink your water, and just let your body kind of reboot. And I think that
Black coffee.
yeah, drink
None of
black.
this Starbucks stuff.
No, no,
Like
no,
300 calories during your
no.
fast.
Nice. No, it's and the thing is, I think that you get to learn exactly how much you don't need, right? And that's a big part about, in our culture, food is very much correlated with emotional experiences. You're going out on a date, you're going, this is some sort of celebration. And I think that if we can, if we can get that idea away of every meal should be
birthday parties, holidays, birthdays.
right.
You're right.
If we get away from that idea that every food needs to be, or every meal needs to be a celebration, we can now cut back and go, okay, what do I absolutely need? All right, do I need it now? Can it wait 2 hours? Cool. Can it wait 3 hours? Awesome. And eventually you end up creating a template for yourself that is followable and improvable. And I think that's such an important thing. I know I'm sure if I look back on it, I probably ate different when I had roommates versus when I was by myself. Or, if when your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, whomever is in town, like if you are alone, are you going to eat the same way? My ex-wife was, she was eating a lot more than I ever wanted to, and a lot different types of foods. And as a result, like once we were divorced, like I found like, oh man, I don't eat like that. And it's just, I'm not,
Isn't that crazy?
it's
How other
crazy.
people's eating habits wear off on you.
And the good ones never carry over. And I'm sure, and this is something that I don't think we could really ever talk about anywhere else. The shaming that you get for living that way sometimes, like people just don't understand. Like, oh, when you're like, I'll give you when you're out at a cast party after a show, and your eating window is closed, and you're like, you know what, I'm good. I'm gonna drink my unsweetened iced tea, and I'm gonna drink my water, and I'm gonna go home. And people are like, well, why? And you're like, well, because this is how I'm staying in the shape that I'm on
You
stage.
need to be for that show.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, come on. You're like, no, you don't. It's you don't want to argue. You don't want to come across as a holier than thou thing, because that's a lot of ways people then start feeling attacked. Like, well, I'm not eating unhealthy. I'm like, I'm not saying you are, man. I'm just saying this is what I need to do for this particular thing. And I think that is such a tough thing. And it is tough when you are surrounded by people that don't eat that way, or like when your partner doesn't eat that way. It can be troubling. And it's all about just, where is your line on that? Where is your, how do you hold that discipline when, there's, one of the things to talk about with contest prep or photo shoot prep is, and I tell my girlfriend this, like, look, this is what it's going to be for these like 10 days, 12 days. It's going to be not eating fun stuff. It's going to be eating very bland, drinking a lot of water, but that it ends, right? We have an end to that goal. We have a means to an end. As soon as we're done, we'll go out and, we'll go to Red Lobster and eat scampi. But like for right now, we got to do X, Y, and Z so that later we can do A, B, and C. And that's always been, I think, for me, the toughest part is,
Right.
is working with other people that don't follow that,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I get that 100%. I personally don't have that feeling nearly as much as you do, because I don't do like the shows and stuff, and because of how long I fast, I can definitely pig out, so to speak, more often than I would otherwise be able to. But I don't have nearly the muscle mass that you do, And that's another thing that I liked that you said about cardio earlier, like a couple minutes ago. A lot of people don't understand, like, cardio is actually BS as far as like burning calories go. If you like to do cardio, like that's just your fix in the gym, like by all means go ahead and do that, but I personally hate it. And like I have friends that are obviously not really big into the fitness industry, or just fitness in general. They just don't really understand human health, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going on a bike ride, or I'm going out on a run, and then I'm gonna have some pizza later. And it's like, dude, your run burned like maybe 100 calories, 200 calories, and that slice of pizza is 374 calories, just one slice,
Oh man, it's when what I've learned as a trainer is picking my battles, and I think that, so like I've become a big fan of people obviously our company, we can work with whatever you have to work with. If you have a pair of 15-pound dumbbells, we can write you a routine.
Right.
And so, somebody would be like, all right, I want to hit my ideal proportions. I want to be, 10% body fat. I'm 6 feet tall. I want my waist to be 32 and a half inches. I want my shoulders to be 55 inches. I've got 15-pound dumbbells. And you're like, okay. So we're going to pre-exhaust. We're going to, we're going to make sure we're doing lateral raise before overhead press. We're going to do upright rows to get the whole shoulder girdle working. You're going to rest 60 seconds. You're going to do that 4 or 5 times.
Mm.
And they're like, but what about cardio? And I'm like, you just did let's say 75 reps in 5 minutes. That is high intensity interval. You worked very hard for about 8 to 10 seconds, then you rested for 10, then you did your next set. Like that, it's just people have in their head that like, oh, it's running, it's
Swimming, bike riding. Tell
it's
them to feel their pulse for 1 minute beforehand and count the beats, and then feel their pulse again for 1 minute and count the beats afterwards, and then have them try to explain that they're not doing cardio.
that you're not, your cardiovascular system isn't improved, your VO2 max hasn't gotten better.
Exactly.
It's a lot of the pop fitness idea, or like, the whole thing about like, oh, I don't want to get bigger, I just want to tone up.
Dude, rip your hair out, bust your head against the table.
Or like explain to people like, all right, you have a potential at which you're not going to get any bigger, like, and they're like, oh, I heard that doing deadlifts ruins your aesthetic. I was like, by the time you get to the point where your aesthetic would be ruined, that's 6 years from now.
Or
like
even changed at all.
No. And it's just,
you have to be doing massive deadlifts.
And only that, right? And not doing anything for with or back thickness. And like it's that thing where, if you want to be a marathoner, that's fine. If that's your thing, if that's your jam, if you want to run 26 miles, that's cool. I'm Greek. The last Greek guy that did it died like at marathon thousands of years ago. We don't run 26 miles at a time. But it's one of those things where like if that's your bag, like do it. If you really just want to row, do it. Now, what's the exception? If you're a boxer, if you study Brazilian jiu-jitsu, yeah, you need that conditioning. Like, and I would actually.
Well, yeah, but those guys are outliers,
Exactly. But the thing is, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's where a lot of people miss the fact. Like they'll be like, well, I saw that Georges St-Pierre trains this way. And like Georges St-Pierre is a world-class fighter who like is probably the best in the world at what he does, with great genetics for it, great training, perfect nutrition. You can't necessarily run all these things. And then you start explaining interference principle to people. It's like, all right, you want to bench press 315, but you also want to run, a marathon. Like those two things are going to mess with each other after a while. You're messing with different systems. And I'm not saying you can't do one or the other. I'm not saying that you can't, for these 6 months train your bench, and then for these 3 months, I have a client that actually he's like, I want to change goals every 8 weeks because I can't focus. And I'm like, well, all right, that's not a way to live.
Every
like
8 weeks?
Yeah, he's like, which is not even. I mean, I can't even get a mesocycle in there. Like I need it. I like a 12-week mesocycle because it lets me kind of know where we are, and that's also why every program you see is 90 days, because that's about when you see your first set of results, your first gain, your first change to significant change, where other people see it, where you see it, your family sees it, people that haven't seen you. But I need that 12-week mesocycle so then I can get my next one. When you want to bail on a goal after 8 weeks, or you have two goals that are crossing over each other, it can get complicated. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, what is the thing that a year from now you would want to see? What, first and foremost, is it an improved time? Do you want to run a 5-minute mile? I mean, we can train for that, but that's going to cost you your bench press strength. It's going to cost you your squat strength, unless you're an outlier. And there are those people. And that has nothing to do with my training at that point.
Yeah, but those like world-class athletes that can do that, they live, breathe, eat, sleep in the gym. Like they are nonstop. And that, like, to the average person, and by the average person, I mean like 99.9% of the world's population, you can't do that forever. Like you might be able to do that for a couple months. But like to keep up with that kind of training, dude, you're an absolute slave to your fitness.
And that's,
like at what cost?
You look at Olympians, right? Like with Simone Biles, like she's chilling by the pool right now, and she will be for the next year, because the things that those athletes go through, the things that, you look at, even, obviously baseball is a little bit different, but you look at football players, and, it's a 16-week season, and then playoffs, and then you spend most of that time recovering and just trying to feed and trying to get back to zero. But those, again, elite athletes, hockey players, elite athletes, like it's a different, if you work at Hertz Rent-A-Car and then you go lift 3 days a week, like you're not going to be an elite lifter. If you're 25 years old and you're not an Olympian yet, you're probably not going to be. Like that's the thing. And so it's great to have aspiration, and it's great to be inspired by, Michael Phelps. It's great to be inspired by Simone Biles. It's great to be inspired by any of these people, but there also comes down to you don't live and breathe that thing. And thank God you don't, because nothing can make you hate something more than having to do it every day.
I'm
Um,
glad you said that because I was literally just about to say, like, look at what Michael Phelps said, like, after his, like, last Olympics or his second to last Olympics. He was like, I'm never going to swim again. I hate getting in the pool. I'll never do this. I hate this. Like, he
and
literally said, I hate this. And for me, that was like, holy crap, dude. Like, he hates this. Like, hate is a strong word, you know? And he was straight up like, I will never get in the pool again. And since then, I mean, he's changed his mind. Because I mean, I've seen him in the pool, but like, he felt so strongly about that because of the effort that he had to put in, you know. And that's what that's the point I'm trying to get across to people, is like, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're a slave to your fitness, because then you'll resent it, and then you'll end up plateauing or just quitting and then binging and then being back to square one before you know it, or worse.
it's such an important thing. And it does come down to, anybody that performs anything at an elite level will get to that point where they just want it to be done, and that's it comes down to, I remember, and then this is just, being an actor, Daniel Craig, after he wrapped filming Spectre, they were like, will you ever do another Bond film? And it was like the day after he wrapped. And he's like, no, I don't ever want to do that again, because he just put his body through this torture. He then had to, go around and answer the same 10 questions for like 5 months. And then, you don't ever want to do that. You hate it. You absolutely hate it. The day that you are done with something, you hate now. Then you take 6 months and you're like, all right, do I really hate it, or am I tired? Am I burned out? Because that's the other thing.
Yeah,
Burnout,
good point.
especially guys, dude, we're so afraid to say that we're burned out on things, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with telling your girlfriend, telling your partner, telling someone like, man, I am just burnt out. I've had it. I just need a day. I need 2 days. I need to take a vacation, whatever. Because the thing is, you can be that point of exhausted, and it's in anything. It's in training, it's in work, it's in school, it's really just about anything. And we
Yeah, big
don't
time.
we don't need to cowboy up anymore. We don't need to do that. That's not a thing. Like that's going to create more problems than it is anything else. When you and this I tell other guys this, I tell younger actors this, I tell younger lifters this. If you need a day off because you are just, your head's in a million places and you can't focus on any of them, take a day off, man. Take a day off. Like, go sit somewhere, don't answer your phone, don't check your social, like, just be. And I think that it's such an important thing for us, for guys that people ask advice of, saying like, man, it's okay to not be okay. It really is. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to just need that time, because it's such a different culture, and you will come back to things rejuvenated, like Michael Phelps did, uh,
Yeah.
you know, like Michael Jordan did. Like, it's no one's going to question your heart, if you need a break at all. I promise you that. And that's something that, I wish I had known, at 21, when I went to drama school. I was I was working in the morning, so I would unload beer trucks in the Strip District, which is like our party area in Pittsburgh. Then I would
Hmm.
go to 8 a.m. till 4. Then I would go to the gym. Then we would have rehearsal for whatever show we were working on. Then you had to go study, because then you had to perform the stuff that you were working on in class. So, like, you're getting, maybe, when everything's said and done, 6 hours of sleep. And so you do have that point where you're like, I hate all of this. I hate all of it. Like, I don't want to do it. I want to just go and, I want to go get a business degree, and, like everybody else does. And, the thing is, like, you have to figure out, like, what do I love enough to let everything else burn, and what am I committed enough to? And, I think that you find, and I'm sure you've seen this, like, coming up in high school, maybe there are those kids that could have played pro baseball. Maybe there are those kids that could have played pro football and just got to the point where, like, you know what, dude, it's not worth it. I'm exhausted. I don't
Yeah.
want to, I don't want this to be my life. And it doesn't matter, even if you could, even if you have that talent and that ability, if your heart's not in it, you're not going to do it. And sometimes taking time away is the best thing you can do. And I think that that's something that is important too, because, obviously fitness, precision nutrition talks about this idea of, like, deep fitness, in addition to, like, all right, looking good on stage, looking good at the beach, looking good in pictures. There's also the idea that, like, my relationships are good, my friendships are good, my head is good, like, I'm I'm in the right place emotionally and mentally, because that's the stuff that I think, a lot of young guys are not going to want to say. And I'm just telling you, like, it's an important part. It's such an important part. And, never be afraid to take that time when you need it for yourself. That's part of fitness too.
Big time, dude. I love it. Let's go ahead and end on that note because that was an awesome note, dude. I agree with that 100%. And I
Nice.
agreed with almost everything else you said 100% too. Anything else you'd like to say before we head out?
No, other than that, take a look at, for everybody watching, thank you so much. Take a look at my profile. I got a link to my company, Copilot. We're a virtual training company. My client, Brandy's on here. Hey, Brandy.
Awesome.
See what we're about. If you want to train with me, I'm available. We work entirely virtually. All you need is an iPhone, and we got you. If you have a watch, if you have the Apple Watch, even better. Just other than that, thank you so much for the support, man. Thanks for having me. This was fun. It's always
Yeah,
good to
this
chat.
was fun, dude. I love doing this. I mean, I am going to save this live and repost it onto my Instagram, and then I'm also going to post it on to my YouTube channel. So I'll tag you in that when that happens, and we'll have to do this again sometime, brother. It was good to have you on, and
You too, bro.
yeah, I'll see you around, brother. Peace out.